In tonight's headlines, newly chosen Pope Leo XIV hosts his first Holy Mass with cardinals, calling on the Church to help illuminate the dark nights of this world. Representatives of cabbie groups file petition at government office, demanding crackdown on illegal ride-hailing platforms. And over 100 employees affected by the closure of local congee chain Ocean Empire sought guidance through legal processes. Good evening. You are watching Cable News. I'm Evelyn Bai. Newly elected Pope Leo XIV led his first Mass as leader of the Catholic Church, saying he hopes the Church can illuminate dark nights of this world, and warned of a lack of faith in de facto atheism. Kun Ting-yang tells us more.
Holding a private Mass in the Sistine Chapel, Pope Leo XIV conducted the service in Latin, Italian, Spanish, and English.
Omnipotens Deus, et emissis peccatis nostris, perducat nos ad vitam aeternam.
In his first papal homily, the pontiff called on the cardinals to walk with me, adding that he will be a faithful administrator for the Church, which can bring light to dark nights of this world. The new pope lamented that there are many places where technology, money, success, power, or pleasure are valued over Christian faith, which he warned in many places was considered absurd, meant for the weak and unintelligent. He added that often the figure of Jesus is reduced only to a kind of charismatic leader or Superman, even among the baptized who ended up living their lives in de facto atheism. After 4 rounds of voting in 2 days, white smoke emerged from the chimney on the Sistine Chapel on Thursday, indicating a new pope has been chosen. Crowds at the St. Peter's Square erupted in cheers and joy. Shortly after, the successor to Pope Francis was revealed. Born in Chicago, 69-year-old Robert Prevost became the first North American to be elected pope.
La pace sia con tutti voi. Fratelli, sorelle carissimi.
In his first remarks as pontiff, he delivered a message of peace and unity. Pope Leo is seen as a reformer and worked for many years as a missionary in Peru. Before being made an archbishop there, he became a cardinal only 2 years ago. One of the clues to the direction for his papacy will be from his choice of papal name. The last pope with this name was Leo XIII, who led the Church from 1878 to 1903. He was known for his devoted focus to social justice issues, and often credited with laying the foundation for modern Catholic social teaching. Kun Ting-yang, Cable News.
Back to Hong Kong, members from the taxi trade demonstrated outside the West Kowloon government offices today, calling for action against illegal ride-hailing services. In response, the government pledged to continue listening to their views and is holding a meeting to keep close communication. Bess Leung reports.
Members from over 20 cabbie groups submitted a petition to the Transport Department, blaming the recent launch of more online taxi services for taking away an estimated 150,000 taxi trips and reducing cabbies' income by about 20%. They prompted the government to amend the law as soon as possible to crack down on white plate vehicles and to step up enforcement against illegal ride-hailing platforms and operators.
如果特首唔想見到有其他或者請願嘅行動或者示威嘅行動嘅話咧，
While playing down the need to hold a strike if officials do not provide a satisfactory response, the next step is to invite taxi associations to sign authorized letters, which they will then submit to the Chief Executive's Office for official attention, said Chow Kwok Keung, chairman of Hong Kong Taxi and Public Light Bus Association. Meanwhile, authorities said a meeting is being arranged with the taxi trade to maintain close communication. The Transport Department has recently issued warning letters to various platform operators, demanding them to comply with relevant legislative provisions. In addition, the government is studying further improvements to the relevant laws to step up efforts in cracking down illegal carriage of passengers for hire or reward, including disqualifying the driver concerned from driving or impounding the vehicle involved in the offense. The proposed legislative amendments will be submitted to the Legislative Council in due course. Beslan, Cable News.
The abrupt closure of local congee chain Ocean Empire Food Shop has left over 100 employees stranded, awaiting government aid to reclaim millions in unpaid wages, severance, and pensions. The crisis prompted a consultation conference hosted by a labor union today, where affected workers sought guidance through legal processes. Quentin Yang reports.
我喺海王嘅工場上邊睇到佢哋。
This former factory worker who attended the consultation organized by the Catering Industry Employees Union, along with 70 other affected workers, revealed that the company gradually halted production weeks before the sudden closure, indicating this was a premeditated plot. At the meeting, the Mandatory Provident Fund Schemes Authority announced a civil lawsuit against parent company Ocean Emperor International to recover $570,000 in unpaid pension contributions and penalties for 130 workers dating back to last December. The authority urged workers to submit pay records to expedite claims. Once operating 30 outlets, the chain had dwindled to 7 before collapsing, with management citing deteriorating finances. While critics warn the company is exploiting the government bankruptcy and insolvency fund to evade obligations, lawmaker Lam Chun-sing criticized systemic gaps, noting that the fund, which covers unpaid wages but not MPF defaults, also leaves employees vulnerable. Workers may never recover these pension debts if the company's assets are exhausted by other creditors, Lam said, urging reforms to protect workers. The fallout extends to 20 migrant workers who face expulsion from staff dormitories and steep agency fees. Lam called for stricter scrutiny of firms hiring foreign labor amid financial instability. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
The Independent Commission Against Corruption has cracked down on a syndicate allegedly bribed logistics staff and engaged in the illegal sale of electronic cigarettes, seizing a record $20 million worth of vaping cartridges since such ban came into effect in 2022.
Codenamed Heron, the operation conducted by ICAC has seized 600 cartons of goods, including 30,000 electronic smoking devices and 200,000 e-cigarette cartridges. The anti-graft agency uncovered that the syndicate's monthly sales revenue had reached around $2 million. They corrupted staff from the logistics companies by bribing them $20 for each delivered package. Around 200 parcels would be handled every day, resulting in monthly bribe payments reaching over $100,000. During the operation, 12 men and 4 women were arrested, aged between 24 and 70, including a 40-year-old mastermind, 6 syndicate members, and 9 logistics company staff working as supervisors and frontline employees at 2 business stations in Hong Kong Island's southern district. ICAC said these corruptees would directly deliver the packages to the recipients without inspecting the goods under the company's regulations. They even provided vacant units as addresses for those packages. The Tobacco and Alcohol Control Office rendered full assistance during the operation and arranged testing for the seized vaping products.
In Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin hosted the Victory Day parade amid a short ceasefire in Ukraine. President Xi Jinping was among dozens of world leaders to attend the event, and Chinese soldiers were parading as well. Anna Chen reports.
Putin, alongside Xi, attended the military parade on Red Square in Moscow, marking the 80th anniversary of the defeat of Nazi Germany in World War II. The Russians' Victory Day commemorations coincided with the unilateral three-day ceasefire in Ukraine announced by Moscow.
Поздравляю вас с 80-летием.
Putin claimed that the whole of Russia backed the war in Ukraine. He said Russia remembered the lessons of World War II and declared the truth and justice are on our side. In a note to Xi in the stands, Putin praised the courageous people of China as he paid tribute to the contribution of the Allied force. Among the soldiers parading were 102 Chinese soldiers, as well as contingents from 12 other countries. Joining the parade was a wide variety of Russian latest weaponry, including Yars missile systems, tanks, and armored personnel carriers. Some combat drones used in Ukraine were shown off as well. Putin also greeted North Korean military personnel following the parade, as Pyongyang's troops helped Moscow oust Ukrainian forces from its Kursk region. Anna Chen, Cable News.
U.S. President Donald Trump and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer agreed on a limited bilateral trade deal, slashing some of the U.S. tariffs on cars, aluminium, and steel. The UK is the first country to strike an agreement with Trump since his sweeping global tariffs took effect. Anna Chen has the story.
Thank you, Mr. President, Donald. And this is a really fantastic, historic day in which we can announce this deal between our two great countries.
Questioned on a speakerphone from the White House and an auto plant respectively, the two leaders held the breakthrough trade deal.
With this deal, the UK joins the United States in affirming that reciprocity and fairness is an essential and vital principle of international trade.
Washington agreed to cut the 25% tariff rate on British steel and aluminium exports to zero. American tariffs on up to 100,000 British cars will also be reduced to 10%, down from the original 27.5%. In addition, British beef farmers will be allowed access to the U.S. market, and preferential treatment will be given to the UK's pharmaceutical industry. However, a 10% baseline tariff on most goods remains in place. While the deal has not yet finalized, UK newspaper The Telegraph learned that under its terms, the US will have the ability to object to Chinese companies investing in the UK, in a clause the Conservatives said amounted to a veto. Government sources said the US would not have an outright veto, but that Washington could flag concerns about Chinese companies buying up key infrastructure. Anna Chen, Cable News.
Ahead of the U.S.-China trade talks in Switzerland tomorrow, the U.S. administration is reportedly weighing a dramatic tariff reduction.
Vice Premier He Lifeng and U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent are due to meet in Geneva on Saturday for the potentially ice-breaking talks. The Bloomberg reported that the U.S. side has set a target of reducing tariffs below 60% as a first step, and hopefully those cuts could be implemented as soon as next week. People familiar with preparations said the discussions are likely to be exploratory and more geared toward airing grievances rather than hammering out solutions to the long list of problems from each side. Sources said Washington is also keen on securing the removal of China's export restrictions on rare earths used to make magnets, as a range of industries face disruption. The White House declined to confirm the report, but said any discussion about target tariff rates is baseless speculation.
Now let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index ended the day up 91 points. Top active stocks of the day. Checker Fund was up 12 cents. Alibaba was up $2.10. Meituan was down 40 cents. BYD was up $1.20. On to the weather now. Cloudy with few showers, more showers with a few squally thunderstorms tomorrow. Showers will be heavier in some areas. Winds will strengthen from north tomorrow night, and temperatures will fall progressively to a minimum of around 23 degrees at midnight. That's our news tonight. I'm Evelyn Bai. Thanks for watching, and good night.